forces of evil have received reinforcements from the Dark Lord, and today they look to destroy the will of men in this epic battle using the brand new Submod, which you can go ahead and find in the link in the description, which adds in a ton of units for a lot of the factions that maybe are lacking a few here and there. This is one of them right here. We have some of the Harad infantry, the Haradrim shield masters, and they do look very, very cool. So obviously this being a Submod, you know, you're going to be using a lot of Attila assets used in it alongside a lot of Rise of Mordor assets that have maybe just been rearranged and added to other units. But I think it's a really, really cool submod, especially whilst we're still waiting for the latest patch to come out, which adds in again a bunch of new units. So it's definitely one to check out, especially if you're looking to play some battles and send them in to me. I definitely recommend using this submod, especially when you kind of couple it with the Gladiator Elf submod and the Rohan submod. You can really start to have some pretty crazy battles. So we are also using one of the custom maps that is being added in the patch, which is coming, I think, relatively soon. They delayed it a little bit to go ahead and add in a few more units so that you guys, you know, get a bigger patch with more stuff to mess around with. But again, I really like this addition to these kind of basic maps which is being put into the game. It'll go ahead and make the multiplayer community much better because there'll be lots of maps to play on and not just these boring Attila engagements, because as you can see, like, this is a very, very cool map and it's an interesting design. So just more stuff like this would be muchly appreciated, if that's even a word. But yes, on both of these sides we do have the forces of Harad right here, again with their main line of these shieldsmen looking very scary, and especially I think these guys also look very, very cool. I love the variation as well. I think that's something the Rise of Mordor team want to get to when they have a few more kind of modders on their side. It's just adding in more of these variants into the units, which I think will definitely benefit the game quite largely. We also have some of these Sovereign Scouts back here, and then we have some more Spearmen. Again, I really dig the shield though. It's a very, very kind of basic shield, but it's just kind of cool seeing these, like, you know, these orcish markings on them and stuff like that, you know, evil men. Okay, so now let's quickly take a look at the dwarfs that have been added in this mob. We basically just had a handful of these infantry using this shield, kind of a bit of a different armor, but they're keeping the shoulder pads in to, you know, make the dwarfs look like dwarfs, because, you know, at the end of the day, these are just shrunk down humans at the moment. We also have some infantry back here again, which I think are just the normal units. We then have some pikemen. God damn, it's so hard to see the dwarfs in this tall grass. It really, really is. But that's going to basically leave a few units, and I think Gondor have one or two more units added into their roster. Yeah, we'll quickly try and find them. A lot of the units are from Dol Amroth, so we'll just quickly try and pick them out. I assume they'll be towards the back of the infantry lines. Got a lot of militia here. Oh yeah, we have the Knights of the White Tree, which are just like two great sword infantry, like Citadel Guard. So a very good shock infantry unit. We have some Dol Amroth cavalry right there. I could have sworn I saw, when I was looking through this battle, some Dol Amroth infantry. So they've been added back in with the submod. And they have really, really cool pictures, unit cards with them. But by the looks of it, I can't see them. Maybe they are here somewhere, just down in the infantry lines, next to these glorious Gondorian infantrymen. Even like to this day, they just look so good. They really do. Very awesome stuff. So yeah, let's just get this battle started. And if we do come across any heavy infantry from Dol Amroth, I will be sure to point it out. But they are definitely in the game. I remember that much at least. They look very cool with some really cool unit cards as well. So as you can see, both sides are posturing around, and this Gondorian village, outpost, whatever you want to call it, must hold. Okay, so the battle is going to kick off with the advancement of the dwarfs, and Harad, the unlikely alliance, is now going to be moving forward. And if the dwarfs can get these arrowball crossbows in a good position, they will shred the heavy armor that Gondor has to offer. Besides that, though, it does seem like Gondor have a lot of range, obviously, with these loose formation Gondorian archers. And I believe they might even have, yeah, they have some Dunedain rangers over here on the left-hand side, which are currently hidden, so it's going to be a good force to kind of spring missile superiority upon the enemies when they do decide to suddenly, you know, start volleying. And we don't have to do a lot of damage. They do lack a bit of missiles on this right flank, which might have been better to stick more missiles over here because of how deadly the dwarven crossbows can be. But there are only 3 units, so they'll match up quite nicely with them. But yeah, if the archer force does get pushed back or gets killed, then crossbows are going to be able to advance forward and then start just destroying these Gondorian sword infantry. But for now, both sides are just moving closer and closer to the range is going to be up. I also really dig this battlefield as well, because it's kind of like split the battlefield into two. So even though it is a 2 versus 1, the battlefield itself is creating a really interesting scenario where, you know, it's basically 2 1v1s going on right now. And it's going to be up to the Gondorian player to, you know, manage his forces effectively. And that's really cool. And I think that's just what the game needs. That's how to make a good multiplayer map, right? Is to have these scenarios that are created by the map and by the surroundings. And, you know, it's not like it's like choke points or anything. It's an open field, an easy bit of terrain, and it creates a very, very interesting play of the battlefield. So we have the Gondorians again bringing forward their archer force. The artillery, though, for the Haradrim are going to be finding their mark. Oh, just missing. And luckily they're focusing down the Gondor sword militia as well. So they'll take that. Wow, as well. These Haradrim are very close. They can quite easily close the distance if they want to, as they return fire on the Gondorians. And we have the... I'm really excited to see what these shield men can do, because they're forming their testudo now to protect themselves, protect that front line. And as you can see, they look very, very cool. They go down as well. That's dope. I dig that. That's really, really cool. But for now, we're having a bit of a skirmish off as both sides try and harass. It seems like the Gondorians are going to fall back a little bit. We got the siege crossbows coming in as well, and they're doing some deadly damage to these Gondorian archers. And the Gondorian archers are simply going to fall back, not wanting to use that range. This is very cool as well. We have artillery bombardments coming in as the archers fire out. And then we also have this one brave unit of the Haradrim axe bearers. These guys are great as well. Yeah, the modders done a great job at creating some interesting units, and these dudes are going to be the first ones in. It's a smart move because they're kind of shock infantry. They're going to kind of cut away at a lot of the infantry. However, it's making them extremely vulnerable to the missiles. But they're going to come in nonetheless, and this shock charge is going to be very deadly as they collide in. They're still receiving a bit of missile fire. But this is going to create gaps, you know. Even though they took so much damage, you know, on the charge, they're going to be able to inflict a ton on these Gondor sword infantry. And that's going to, you know, open up weak points in the battle line. You can also see a lot of the missile fire is also focusing down select units, which is going to create holes which hopefully the Haradrim can use to their advantage. I'm also very interested to see how this missile fight will go. Obviously, having the heavy Dharmaroth Knights, there's not much out there besides maybe Rohan that can beat these guys. So, you know, the Southern Lancers of Harad, which are much lighter but faster, they're going to have their work cut out for them in this engagement. Again, going back over to the engagement, we do have a cavalry push right here by the Knights of the Silver Swan, and it does seem like the dwarfs are going to be moving them stunty little legs and running back as fast as they can. And the cavalry is just simply going to have to hold here and probably fall back. But I love these probing strategies when players do these in battles, because it basically sets, you know, the enemy missiles backwards whilst your archers are shooting. The cavalry is a bit vulnerable right now, though. They need to maybe fall back, not to lose any extra men. And you can see right here, some militia have had to come in to just support the battle line. And they've managed to repel this unit of axemen pretty nicely. And now they just have the militia up front, who are probably going to counterattack as more spearmen move up. Yeah, it'd be really cool to get more variants of these shields as well, with like different evil sat-like signs on. Because I think having like a big wooden shield like this is cool for like quite a few of the units, and then just having like, you know, Sauron's eye on them, and like the real like kind of orcish, you know, evil symbols we see. Just kind of paste it on. I feel like that's quite an easy thing to do. You know, obviously nothing's easy on the Attila modding, but I think that'd be a really cool way of kind of adding in lots of variants. Oh, the cavalry engagement. I think we just... Oh, the Dunedain. Because these guys move in stealth, they were able to get close enough to this cavalry unit and unload 3 brutal volleys on them and basically decimate this unit of cavalry. That was a nice move right there as both sides continue to move forward. Gondor just using this infantry unit. And it seems like Gondor have really won this missile engagement with a lot of their archers focusing down kind of maybe the more lightly armoured Haradrim. You know, these guys don't really have a lot of way in protection besides maybe this kind of like leathery cloth that they have over their shoulders, whereas the Gondor units are obviously in plate armor, much heavier armor value. And even in the shield wall, they're starting to lose a few men here and there. This militia unit, which is, I guess, just out here to absorb ammunition, is being peppered. The dwarfs are moving forward as well, so I imagine the fighting will commence very, very quickly. I love the axes on these dwarfs as well. They look so cool. So the dwarves have moved up. We've got a unit of pikemen as well. One of the new units. You can barely see them, though, in the tall grass. But I guess that works both ways, you know. It's good for the dwarves because they can hide a bit more effectively. But also it means that they can't really see much in front of them. But hey, they're probably used to that. And we're also pushing heavy axemen around the left flank as well, which is a great strategy. Obviously, though, the dwarves do lack a lot of cavalry. So we do have a unit of these Downroth Swan Knights who haven't taken any damage from that crossbow fire. You can quite easily maneuver their way around. Yeah, the lighter archer force of the Haradrim are now being pushed back. They've only got, what, probably 2 full-strength units and then a couple half-strength units. So overall, this missile fight is going well. They still have plenty of ammunition left. But the dwarves are going to be pushing very, very close with 2 lines ready to move in. The Gondorians are in a very messy formation, but I don't think this really affects them too much. This might provide them with a few extra breaches in their battle line. But besides that, it should be fine as the fire arrows do continue just to swoon off and pepper the general unit. I guess the Dwarven general has gotten a little bit too close, and he's receiving missile fire aplenty. Both sides are bringing up their pikemen to fortify the centre, and then now the left flank has now engaged as the heavy axes of Erebor are clashing against the Gondorian sword line. And you can see them pikemen are going to be doing both basically the exact same thing, pushing the pikes through the shields of the heavy Gondorian swords. It does bring them into crossbow fire, which I'm assuming you're going to see a lot of crossbow fire going over here. Well, the dwarfs are going to be trying to break these flanks. I think this is a good idea to kind of stagger your attack, because not only have they managed to get some spearmen, oh wow, you know, this is one of the problems of the Gondorians, because they're fighting on both flanks. You know, they're going to miss micro a bit here and there, whereas these 2 players, even though they have smaller armies, can use them effectively. Luckily, only a handful of these, probably 1 or 2, yeah, literally 2 of these Knights of the Silver Swan got caught until the Gondorian player realised, and now he's going to be throwing in some of his Knights of the White Tree, just descending upon here. We have the Dwarven General going in, though, and we do have a nice little, smash in the side here with more and more of the Dwarfs as they try and beat back the Gondorians. Very cool stuff going on so far. Yeah, and as I said, I love this staggered line. They're really trying to hammer in the flanks before committing the battle in the center, so that the kind of flanks will break a little bit if they are successful, a little bit before the center engages, holding the center in place and then allowing the flanks to collide in and just surround them. It's a smart tactic, and it's always great to see that. So the pikemen are going to be pushed forward as the infantry holds. And now the pikes are going to go down. Oh, but this is a good counter charge, I think, going on against that. They need to push forward their Fountain Guard to help out as well. The crossbows are deadly, and the cavalry is immediately going round here to deal with these crossbows, I think. Yeah, taking care of the crossbows is very important. The other line, the Haradrim, have now engaged against the militia and also the Imperial Gondorian Sword Infantry. We can take a quick look at the stats as well if you guys want to take a look at just how much better these guys are. So, Gondorian Sword Infantry, so the Haradrim have 100 health, 66 armor, compared to the Gondorians 105 health and 80 armor. Melee attack is 32 and melee damage is 26, but they are obviously a little bit depleted. Again, yeah, the Gondorian infantry is better, and finally melee defense is severely in favor. So these units aren't like going to be your top tier unit. I mean, they're going to struggle against, you know, the top tier Gondorian infantry, but they'll hold their own, and they'll provide the Haradrim with a much needed kind of central force to put in their front line. Even though they may be not as strong, they'll definitely do damage, and they'll hopefully provide with a bit more damage. Oh, we do have some of the heavy cavalry. Oh yeah, this was another unit as well. Kind of like a Cataphract cavalry unit, the Golden Serpent Cataphracts. And they're just going to rip through these Dunedain. The poor Aphelion Rangers have literally just been absolutely demolished. You can see their brethren are running away. And the Knights of the Silver Swan are even trying to escape a little bit. But the Cataphracts are going to charge on. And that is going to be a deadly, deadly move on the Knights of the Silver Swan, as both of the infantry lines do clash. How are the Dwarfs faring? The Dwarfs have overloaded this left flank, and it's going to be up to the Gondorian Sword Infantry to keep their mettle. Otherwise, if that center breaks, it is all over. Also, it seems like the Gondorians are simply trying to close the gap now, not leaving their Fountain Guard as kind of like a retreat force. We do have plenty of forces coming around here as the dwarfs fight bravely. They've got some Erebor Iron Guard making their way through the battle line, and I imagine probably going to be going in onto these Fountain Guard or reinforcing the rest of their infantry. It's really up to them for what they want to do. Yeah, well, they're actually going to have to push forward their pikemen, because I guess they didn't realize they weren't actually engaged to help support that, as the Iron Guard chase onto the Gondorian archers. The balance of power is not looking good, though. It seems like the Haradrim are being melted right now. And what was that? The Dwarven General? Yeah, the Dwarven General has been slain against the Swan Knights, so he was taken care of with a swift blow from the Swan Knights. But the Dwarfs, you know, they're sturdy folk. You know, even though their general is dead, their morale will stand on. But as you can see, the balance of power is not looking clean. I mean, the Haradrim are really struggling. You can see men are already starting to be committed over to this other flank. Cavalry is being brought over. I mean, they're actually kind of fleeing from the heavy golden cavalry charge. Archer fire coming in on both sides as more and more of the Knights of the Silver Swan look to take out this artillery and any other cavalry they come up against. But they are being peppered with fire arrows. And I've been saying how the Haradrim have been struggling, but they're doing okay, especially with these cavalry charges as well. That's going to be a very, very detrimental cavalry charge to the Gondorians. Especially as they pull out, they'll do lots of trample damage as well. More infantry coming in, but their front line just is not strong enough. Over here on the Dwarven battles line. What? Wait, what? No, they're still here. It says our allies have fled. It's just like a unit or two. Must be just a unit or two. I mean, the balance of power is looking pretty messed up. But, oh yeah, they're winning on this left flank as well. Even though the dwarfs managed to get around the side, it seems like the heavy infantry for Gondorians being brought in. The Knights of the White Tree. Let's see how many kills these Knights of the White Tree have got. 219. That's pretty goddamn decent. The archers are covering down this flank as well as more and more infantry are being sent in. But it seems like the Gondorians have just broken the Haradrim with, you know, with not, I'd say ease maybe. And again, keep in mind that balancing is still a thing. So, I mean, I don't personally know what the modder plans on doing, like what this unit is supposed to be. I assume it's supposed to be like a frontline infantry. So maybe their stats need to be boosted just a little bit here and there. But maybe he doesn't want them to be like super overpowered. But you know, balancing is still all up to play for. But I think the superior missile fire really came in big because they slaughtered the Haradrim, and I imagine archers are very valuable to them. Because if the Haradrim can like weaken down, like I imagine they have very cheap archers, but they just put in a lot of arrows. And if the Haradrim can like weaken up the Gondorian infantry before their infantry comes in, that's kind of what their goal is. You know, whereas Gondor is very much a heavy infantry faction where they just stand in one place and they just repel the enemy wave after wave. Whereas the Haradrim, I imagine, much more fit like the shock infantry. You know, Gondor are kind of very much like the dwarfs, but with cavalry. There you go. A lot of the infantry are now making... Oh, this is so cool! I didn't realise this was a thing. I didn't realise there was paths. I love when modders do this. I love when these aren't just impassable terrains. I love when there's like gaps. There was a siege map, Castle Hill, that did this. And it just made for such a fun battle because you were fighting in people's backyards. Every street was a point of contention as the enemy tried to outflank the infantry. More of this. If this is Empty made this, or Potato, whoever made this map, more stuff like this, especially in sieges, please. I love it when there's these small avenues where people can commit their infantry through. Because in normal Total War, normally this would just all be blocked off and you'd have to go all the way around. That's really cool. Yeah, I dig that a ton. But the Gondorians are turning up, and by the looks of it, just turning up to finish off what remains of the dwarfs as they fight on bit by bit. They're charging into the Fountain Guard, looking to commit upon their lines. Also, guys, if you are enjoying these Rise of Mordor battles, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And if this video, I don't know, gets 250 likes, we'll do another one this week. So if you want to see another Rise of Mordor battle this week, be sure to like the video and comment down below. Also, if you are subscribed, if you're not subscribed, make sure you are subscribed. And also be sure to hit that bell button, because without that bell button being ticked, it's basically pointless you subscribing to the channel, because that's just how YouTube works now. It's stupid, yes, but you know, if you want to be notified of my videos, which is basically why you subscribe, be sure to hit that bell notification. The dwarfs are fighting bravely, but I think it's going to be all in vain as the Gondorian forces just collide around, looking to surround every single escape route. The Athelian Rangers have made their way deep round here, I imagine, to cut off these Erebor crossbows who are fleeing for their life in full speed. And this is a really nice use of Sword Militia. You know, the Sword Militia are trash. They're going to get cut down by most infantry in the game. However, they're a very, very good chasing unit. So if you can get these dudes, because they're basically so lightly armored, if you can get these guys to pursue missiles, that's kind of where they really, really do a great job in. That's where they kind of excel. So doing that is a nice move here by the players. As more and more infantry do make their way around to finish this off. You got an archer line as well looking to come in, I imagine. Yeah, a lot of these archers are out of ammunition, so Gondor are simply trying to save that. They've also completely surrounded this unit of brave Erebor Iron Guard. Also, guys, let me know in the comments what you think of the Submod. Is this something you're going to be playing with when you play the Rise of Mordor? What units would you like to see added to the submod? Make sure you go, I'll link it in the description to the submod. Make sure you go over and comment on the page and thumbs it up as well, because, you know, it's a very, very cool submod, adds in some really cool units. And especially if you couple this with the Galadriel Elves and the Rohan submod, you can have some really big and interesting battles. So it's definitely some very, very cool stuff. How's this pocket of resistance doing over on the right-hand side? Not great, not great. You got the Fountain Guard coming around the back. You got these Swords of the White Tree as well, colliding in. And the Dwarfs, I think, have breathe their last breath, especially with Archer Fire coming in as well, just to finish this one off. Yeah, you can see they're just going to completely surround them and just cut them down bit by bit. Oh yeah, the general's gone as well. So there you go, a Pyrrhic victory for Gondor, but I'd say it's pretty good nonetheless. I also love these loading screens as well, they're very cool. Unfortunately, it's not showing us the kills, which is kind of a shame. It'd be very nice to see that, but oh well. So there you go, that's another Rise of Mordor battle. Be sure to drop a like and a comment if you enjoyed it. Also, let me know what you want to see next. And as I said, 250 likes and we'll do another Rise of Mordor battle this week, because I have a couple replays sitting there, which I want to do. But, you know, it's up to you guys if you want to see them this week or next. And fish out.